Hi, tonight on Upstairs to the Right Music, we're going to talk about funk rock guitarists that you should know, Part 1, coming up next. Hi, this is Mike McWilliams, your host for Upstairs to the Right Music. Tonight we're going to talk about funk rock guitarists that you should know about, Part 1. First up is Sly Stone. Born in Denton, Texas in 1943, Sly Stone was a child prodigy. He played guitar, bass, keyboards, drums, you name it, at a very young age. He was born in Texas, but he later moved on to the Bay Area where he would form the seminal funk rock group Sly and the Family Stone. Sly Stone was a big influence on the Minneapolis sound that came later on. We'll get into that in a bit. But his unique funk rock really was the soundtrack, in my opinion, for that era. And here we're going to take a look at Sly Stone playing live, playing one of his songs with the Family Stone, "Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself Again." In my life, I've had two guitar teachers. One was Mr. Charles Fox, who was a jazz guitarist, and the next one was a gentleman by the name of High Tide Harris. High Tide told me a very funny story about Sly Stone when he was growing up, because he came from the Bay Area. One day he was out playing with his friends, and this really nice caddy rolls up, and out pops Sly Stone with a guitar in his hand. He said that Sly played a lick, said, you know, "Don't you think that's great?" Hopped back in his car and drove off. So, you know, that gives you a little insight into Sly Stone and his character. Okay, next up is Eddie Maggot Brain Hazel. Eddie Hazel was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1960, but he grew up in New Jersey. In 1967, he became one of the founding members of the Parliaments that would later become Parliament Funkadelic, led by Mr. George Clinton. He got his name Maggot Brain from the title song of Funkadelic's third album, Maggot Brain. He did an epic 10-minute guitar solo. The story behind this solo on Maggot Brain is that they were super high on acid and all kinds of psychedelics, and Eddie Hazel went into the studio and George Clinton said, "I want you to think about your mom dying and then finding out that she didn't die, and let's record that through guitar." Anyway, I guess it must have worked between the drugs and the pep talk. It must have worked because he came up with this epic solo. Check it out. So there you have it. I mean, undeniably, man, if that didn't move you, then you know I would check your pulse. Now, Eddie Hazel, he didn't stay in Parliament Funkadelic. Actually, he left the band, I believe, around 1972 or so. He would come in and out, and he was eventually replaced. But his influence on the genre of psychedelic rock cannot be denied. And this is definitely a guitar player that is underrated, unknown for the most part, but you really should check it out. Okay, next up is Jesse Johnson. Jesse Johnson was born in Illinois in 1960. He is a founding member of the funk rock group The Time that was formed by Morris Day and Prince. Now, he was the lead guitarist for that group until he left off to have his own solo career. But during his time with Prince, the two of them, Prince and Jesse Johnson, it's coming out, were extremely tight with each other. Jesse Johnson says that he contributed to Prince's Controversy album. He was one of the few guys that I know of that Prince co-wrote with on some tracks, including the Vanity 6 album. Played his own solos on those albums, because usually Prince would just record everything and have Morris Day come in and sing over it, over his backing tracks, by the way. And so Jesse Johnson really was an integral part of that whole Prince unit. So much so that when Suzanne Rogers, Prince's engineer, first came in working with Prince, it was Jesse Johnson who told her how Prince liked to have his studio set up. So there was obviously quite a connection between those two in terms of working together. Last on our list is Prince Rogers Nelson, born in Minneapolis in 1958. There's not much that I can tell you about Prince that actually you shouldn't already know. Extremely talented multi-instrumentalist, producer, and film director. Prince wore a lot of hats. This guy wrote so many hit songs, not just for himself and the acts underneath his labels, but also for other artists as well. This guy was the one that I and my friends looked up to the most when we were growing up in the mid-80s, as somebody to strive to be exactly like, well, not exactly like, because I don't think I could fit his boots, but to really try to mold or model ourselves after. When he passed away in 2016, quite frankly, I was devastated. I was in the middle of recording an album at that time, and I just put it aside. I didn't play a note for about 2 or 3 months. That's how heartfelt his passing away was to me. Here we have Prince playing on one of his songs that he wrote for Tevin Campbell, performing live. The song is called Break It Down. So that's it. That's part one. If you'd like to see somebody in part two that you think should be added into this conversation, please down in the comments section let me know, and I'll make it happen. Again, if you like the video, if you like the content of what we're doing here Upstairs to the Right Music channel, please subscribe, please hit the like button, and please have a great day. Talk to you later.
Like the show? Well, show your support by subscribing and hitting the like button. See you later.